Hi, Ask Auntie Tam here, and today we're going to talk about depression recovery, specifically the beginning of your recovery. And again, I would like to reiterate that I am not a psychologist, not a psychiatrist, not a medical professional. Everything that I'm talking to you about comes from my own lived experience. So please take that as it is because your experience may be completely different from mine. So, what I would like to start off with is now you've started your journey to recovery. You've realized you are experiencing depression. You've been to your doctor because that is the most important thing. If you suspect or you feel that you may have depression, the first port of call would be your doctor, your GP, your physician. Go to them first. Now, he or she may or may not prescribe medication. A lot of the time, they will prescribe medication. So, if you are sitting at the beginning of your journey, particularly if you have started on medication, um, the first few weeks you may not feel that much different. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Because I'm going to describe my beginning journey. I mean, I've had several episodes throughout my life, starting from about the age of 12. So the first few weeks you may not feel like there's any difference and you might be ready to give up. Don't give up because sometimes it takes a while for medication to work, it takes a while for therapy to work, it takes a while for you to actually start beginning to feel a change when the recovery begins. And it's important to keep this in mind because it's very easy to give up right in the beginning when you're not feeling that immediate woo change. Um, my experience, particularly with this um, episode of depression that I have experienced, was it took a while for the medication to start working. Normally, medication will start working between 3 and 6 weeks. You'll start to feel a difference. Your emotional well-being will start to improve, particularly if you are also combining your medication with counseling. And this is incredibly important because counseling will help you get to the root cause of your problem. It will give you a chance to actually talk to somebody about what's happening in your life, what triggered the depression, what are the very, very far reaches of the depression, which could go all the way back to childhood. So it's important that if you are on medication, that you're combining that with some form of therapy. Um, and I know therapists can be incredibly expensive, but I know that in a variety of countries there are options for free therapy. Usually they will give it to you for about 6 weeks. In South Africa, we've got Lifeline. In the UK, there is the Samaritans. I'm sure there are other mental health and wellness um, helplines in other countries that you can make use of. So the first thing to remember is that you might not feel an immediate change. Now, when I went on to medication, this was the beginning of 2021. In, literally the beginning was in January, and the 9th of January to be specific, because I put that in my diary because I'm a little bit OCD like that. So I experienced the first 3 days on the medication. I was feeling really charged up and bright, and my concentration was fantastic. I felt like I was in a really good mood, and I think that was because my serotonin levels were so low that my brain just went whoopee serotonin and got all excited. But then after the 3 days, that really tapered off. And then I went back into the, oh, I can't concentrate, I'm tired, I'm feeling a little bit low. And I'm normally thinking that from past experience, it takes my body about a month to start to rehabilitate with medication. But it didn't take a month, it took 6, which means that obviously the lack of serotonin in my brain was so bad that it took longer to actually come back up to a sort of normal level. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think my serotonin levels only stabilized after a year in this episode. In other episodes, I felt that it stabilized within 6 months. So your experience may be completely and vastly different, but just understand that you may not feel the instant wham change that you want to feel. This is not magic. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Therapy takes time. Medication takes time. It's not going to be an overnight, I'm popping this pill, tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up, I'm fine. That's not how it works. Um, so you need to start to be patient with yourself. And especially in the beginning, and especially in the first 6 months or so, you might find that it's a bit of an up and down journey. You may have a day or a week where you're feeling great, you're feeling more yourself, and then you may have a day or a week where you're feeling back in that depression. But there is a constant improvement, particularly, and I stress this, particularly if you are also having therapy at the same time, because you're exploring the issues that are bringing you um, into this dark space. And what I would also say to you, and I encourage you so strongly, that if at any point during those first 6 months of recovery you feel you're backsliding, you feel like the medication's not working, you're feeling suicidal, you're having thoughts of death, if nothing has changed, go immediately back to your doctor. Immediately, because they may need to adjust the medication dosage, or they may have you on the completely wrong medication. I think I've said in another video where I had a week on a specific medication, which, wow, instead of making me feel better, it actually made me feel so much worse. I could barely get out of bed. I mean, I was, the suicidal thoughts were terrible. It was crushing. So not all medications are created equal. Not all medications are suited to you. A medication that may have worked 3 years ago may not necessarily work now. So it's a balancing act. And the main thing is be so patient with yourself. Journal. That helped me. Journaling helped me enormously, especially when the days when I was feeling really low. I would write what was going on. I would get that out there, talk to somebody. I spoke to my partner, I spoke to friends, and I spoke to my counselor, obviously. Really important. And I stress this again, therapy. But keep your eye on how your mood is changing and evolving. If nothing has changed in a month to 6 months, or you feel like you've gone backwards, go back to your doctor. And the thing is, when you tell people you are starting on this journey of recovery from depression, you're going to get a lot of really weird comments, like, oh, get over it, pull yourself towards yourself, are you better now? Just get some sleep. Ignore those haters. Well, they're not really haters, they're probably ignorant. So ignore that. Go on your journey and get yourself well. And that's one of the things you need to keep in mind, because those low days are going to come, and they are going to come probably right at the beginning. Especially, you're going to be making these changes, you're going to have the medication, you committed to your recovery, but then you're going to have those days, maybe even weeks, where it feels like, oh, I'm back at square one. You're not back at square one. Remember that you're not back at square one, particularly if you've had a really difficult counseling session or therapy session, and it's brought up a lot of old, stale, cuck emotions. You may feel like, oh man, I've regressed. I'm not getting better. I've gone backwards. You haven't gone backwards. Something has changed. Something has moved. Just sit with that feeling. Allow it to come up to the surface and move through you. That's why journaling, for me, it might be your thing. Okay, that's fine. But for me, journaling really helped, because on those really cuck days, I would journal, I would get my feelings out. I would talk to people, I would get those feelings out, people you trust. And make sure that you are balancing things. Now, don't And I mean, I know a lot of people will say, especially when you go to the doctor will say, I need you to also, here's your medication, um, and you need to get more exercise, and you need to change your diet. When you are in the beginning stages of recovery, you really don't have the energy or the willpower to make changes to your diet or to exercise. I mean, come on, seriously now. So don't feel under pressure that now you are starting your journey, you have to also do the diet, the exercise, the yoga, the meditation, the what. In the beginning, focus purely on I'm starting this journey. The diet, the exercise, the meditation, that will come later when you've got more energy. And you'll know when that time is because you'll start to feel more in yourself. That's the best way I could describe it for me. You'll start to feel, oh, I'm more myself again. I've got more energy. I'm thinking more clearly. I'm feeling better. I'm not sad all the time. And then you can start looking, and usually it's an organic process. You don't even have to think about making changes to your diet or exercise. Sometimes it's an organic, and for me, particularly in this time, it's an organic process. I didn't want to go to karate. I mean, doctor said, yeah, go back to karate. But dude, I can barely get out of bed in the morning. How am I going to go back to karate? I ask. So for me, it was like, oh, go back to karate, says the doctor. Change your diet, says the doctor. I kind of ignored that advice in the beginning. I'll be honest. Because I just wanted to get that medication working. I wanted to start feeling better. I wanted to start feeling more myself. And it was an organic process. And about 6 months, 6 to 8 months later, I was like, oh, I want to go back to karate. So I went back to karate. Or completely organic process. And then I found around at about that same time, I started to eat better. I didn't have to consciously think about changing my diet. I started to do that naturally. So please don't feel under pressure right in the beginning to do this, to do that. Friends will try to be helpful and make recommendations that you do an hour of meditation a day or read this book or take this supplement. You know, hey, this is your journey. You decide how you're going to walk it. You decide how you are going to process things and move forward. It's your journey. Mine is completely different from yours, maybe. Maybe we are exactly the same. I don't know. But it is still your journey. And really, and I know the doctors are well meaning, and I do respect their many years of study and their many years of practice and their incredible education. But you've also got to understand that you need to listen to your body. If your body says, I need to take a nap, take a nap. If your body says, I need to go back to karate, go back to karate. But be patient with yourself. Because in these beginning stages, it's not going to be like this. It's not a magic wand. It's not going to change things overnight. So be patient with yourself. Because this whole process is going to teach you about you. It's going to teach you about being safe within your own life. It's going to teach you patience. So I wish you well on your journey. Please like and subscribe. And also send me your comments, send me your suggestions for videos, ask questions, because I am Ask Auntie Tam after all. And I wish you well. If you are starting your depression recovery journey, I wish you well, and I wish you patience. And just please monitor your mood, monitor your reaction to whatever drug you're on, monitor your reaction to therapy, and be mindful of those things, that if things need to change, they need to change, because that can quite literally save your life. So be well, namaste, and I wish you well on the start of your journey.